Imagine discovering something that would change human history forever, simply by watching smoke rise from a campfire. Long before cigarettes existed, ancient humans were already curious about what happened when different plants burned. One day, someone accidentally breathed in the smoke and experienced something completely unexpected. Instead of running away, they became even more curious about the strange smell and feeling. They also noticed that the thick smoke chased annoying insects away from their campsite. Soon they began sharing their discoveries with friends and family around the fire. People started collecting different leaves and herbs, hoping to find the most interesting ones. Every new plant created different smells, different smoke, and different experiences. Slowly and carefully, humans began experimenting with inhaling certain kinds of smoke. But this was only the beginning of a story that would eventually spread across the entire world. As time passed, the oldest members of the tribe became experts at choosing the best plants to burn. Young hunters carefully watched and learned which herbs created pleasant and useful smoke. Some plants produced calming effects that made people feel peaceful after a long day. Without understanding chemistry, ancient humans simply remembered which plants felt different. They even believed certain kinds of smoke could help comfort sick or injured tribe members. Soon, searching for special herbs became an important part of everyday life. The plants were dried carefully so they would burn slowly and create thicker smoke. Crushing the leaves released even stronger aromas, making each experiment a little different. Every campfire became a place for discovery, where people tested nature one plant at a time. What began as simple curiosity was slowly turning into one of humanity's oldest traditions. Thousands of years later, one plant would completely change the history of smoking. That plant was tobacco, and it grew naturally across many parts of the ancient Americas. Native people carefully harvested the leaves only when they were fully grown. The leaves were dried for days or even weeks before they were ready to use. Instead of smoking for fun, tobacco was first used during important ceremonies and special rituals. Many tribes believed the rising smoke carried their prayers toward the heavens. Sharing a pipe was also a symbol of peace, trust, and friendship between people. For ancient communities, smoking was deeply connected to respect, nature, and spiritual beliefs. Around the campfire, stories, traditions, and wisdom were often shared through these sacred ceremonies. At this point in history, smoking was still a meaningful tradition, not the everyday habit it would later become. As civilizations grew, the use of smoke spread to many different parts of the ancient world. In places like Egypt and other ancient kingdoms, people burned fragrant plants inside temples. The rising smoke became part of religious ceremonies and spiritual traditions. Although this wasn't tobacco smoking, people still believed certain smoke had special powers. Merchants traveled long distances carrying herbs, spices, and new ideas from one land to another. As people traded goods, they also shared their knowledge about useful plants. Every region discovered different leaves, flowers, and herbs that created unique aromas. Some plants smelled pleasant, while others produced stronger effects when their smoke was inhaled. Over time, people remembered which plants worked best and passed that knowledge to future generations. Little by little, humanity built centuries of experience with smoke long before the modern world ever existed. Everything changed when European explorers finally reached the Americas in the late 1400s. They met native communities whose traditions were unlike anything they had ever seen. One of the biggest surprises was watching people use tobacco during peaceful ceremonies. The explorers became fascinated and wanted to learn more about this mysterious plant. Before long, tobacco leaves were carefully collected and prepared for the long journey home. Ship after ship carried tobacco across the Atlantic Ocean. Without realizing it, these voyages were about to change history forever. When tobacco reached Europe, people couldn't stop talking about this strange new discovery. Kings, nobles, doctors, and merchants all became curious about the unusual plant. Within just a few decades, tobacco had begun spreading across much of the known world. Before long, farmers realized that tobacco could grow into an incredibly valuable crop. Markets filled with tobacco and demand kept growing year after year. Merchants quickly discovered they could earn huge amounts of money by selling it. Entire shiploads of tobacco crossed oceans to supply customers around the world. Global trade helped tobacco spread faster than almost anyone could have imagined. Different cultures adapted tobacco to fit their own traditions and customs. Some doctors even believed tobacco had special healing properties, although many of those beliefs were later proven incorrect. At the time, people still knew very little about tobacco's long-term effects on the human body. As smoking became more common, it slowly changed from a sacred ritual into an everyday habit for many people. A plant once used in ancient ceremonies had now become one of the world's most influential global products. Today, scientists know that tobacco contains a chemical called nicotine. Nicotine reaches the brain very quickly after tobacco smoke is inhaled. For a short time, it can create feelings of pleasure, alertness, or relaxation. But repeated use can make the brain start wanting nicotine again and again. That is why tobacco can become difficult for many people to stop using. Ancient communities never understood the science behind nicotine. Their ceremonial tobacco use was very different from modern commercial smoking. A simple discovery around a campfire eventually grew into something much bigger than anyone could have imagined. The story of smoking is not just about tobacco, it's also about human curiosity, culture, and discovery. And after thousands of years, that journey is still shaping the world we live in today. Looking back, the history of smoking stretches across thousands of years of human civilization. From simple campfires to powerful empires, one discovery traveled farther than anyone expected. It all began with curious people who simply wanted to understand the world around them. For many ancient cultures, tobacco was treated with deep respect and used only during meaningful ceremonies. History reminds us that traditions often change as they pass from one generation to the next. What started as a sacred ritual eventually became an everyday habit for millions of people. Over time, the purpose of smoking changed dramatically, even though the plant remained the same. As ideas crossed oceans and continents, cultures influenced one another in unexpected ways. This story is really about one of humanity's greatest strengths, our endless curiosity to explore and experiment. But the journey isn't over yet, because one final question still remains. So, who was the very first human to discover smoking? The truth is, no one knows exactly who that person was. The earliest experiments happened so long ago that no written records exist. It may have started with one curious person sitting beside a simple campfire. That person's name has been lost to history, but their discovery changed the world. Today, archaeologists continue searching for new clues hidden beneath the ground. Every ancient pipe and every preserved plant teaches us a little more about our past. Like detectives, researchers carefully connect thousands of tiny pieces of evidence. Together, those discoveries help us understand how one small idea spread across civilizations. History isn't just about the past. It's also a guide for understanding the choices we make today. From a simple campfire to civilizations across the globe, the story of smoking spans thousands of years. It reminds us that even the smallest discoveries can shape the course of human history. One moment of curiosity eventually influenced cultures, trade, science, and everyday life. What began as sacred ceremonies slowly evolved into a global habit, unlike anything ancient people could have imagined. History isn't just about memorizing dates. It's about understanding how human choices change the future. By learning from the past, we can make better decisions in the present and the future. Every ancient artifact tells a story, and every discovery brings us one step closer to understanding our ancestors. So never stop asking questions, because curiosity has always been one of humanity's greatest strengths. If you enjoyed this journey through history, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more amazing ancient stories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next adventure into the fascinating world of ancient history.